Okay, guys, this is going to be my review of the Netflix original film Project Power, and I liked it. I think the strongest part of this whole film is the action. The action in this film is top notch action from just a directing standpoint. Like I love the scene where it's like you have the girl, the ice girl in the cave in the containment center, and you just see the Art, Jamie Foxx's character fighting, but you see it from the view of the girl who's freezing up. And I think, or when it's on the boat, like they flip it around and go upside down, and I love like the parkour stuff and the fire stuff, and in the first fight sequence with the fire guy. And what I will say to that, the action sequences, is the special effects, the visual effects, are not the best by no stretch of the imagination. Like there are some great special effects, like the visual effects, the CGI for the Invisible Man part of that whole sequence with the guy who blends into the background. That was great. Those special effects were great, and it almost seems like they put most of the special effects work there. But I have to say, I felt like because it's like it made the whole Jamie Foxx power. When they ultimately reveal the big reveal of what's his power, it made it a lot more anticlimactic. When like I get like the whole idea of like he disintegrates things and whatnot, but it made a whole lot It made it very anticlimactic when it was horrible visual effects that took me out. It didn't take me out of the film, but it just was like, and then right at the first sequence with the fire effect of the guy who was on fire and stuff was kind of crazy. Not the best CGI, but for a Netflix original, again, for a direct to streaming service film, they keep pushing the envelope, and so it's not bad special effects. It's just a little bit noticeable. But granted, I think I love the action sequences. I think the story again. I think there's a difference between premise and story. In the premise of there's this pill that can give you powers for 5 minutes, surprisingly, never really was the main drive of the film. It was mainly about the people dealing and selling them. It was also about Art trying to find his daughter, who was the source of the power, and about the girl supporting her family. And I think the stuff with the girl supporting her family made it feel more realistic, made it feel more grounded, because it's this type of reasons why people get into the drug business, or try to do things that seem shady, but they're doing it for the right reasons. Like her mom is suffering for diabetes and needs some hospitalization and money to pay for treatments. So I think it's just that grounded sense to it, where it's like, yes, you get the powers, but I think there was always that grounded sense with the powers. Like, okay, you might become fire, you might become ice, you might have bullet immunity. But I think what did take me out of the film a little bit was the guy who helped create the pill, who was selling it to those other people. He became this like giant monster. And you know who I'm talking about, the guy with the mustache. And he was like the epitome of a mustache twirling villain. Like that's literally what you think of when you think of a mustache twirling villain. But luckily he didn't end up being the main villain. But his powers were so weird because it took me out of the film, where he turns into a giant monster. Because I think from that point forward, I think at the beginning of the film, up to then, it always felt like whatever their abilities or powers were felt very grounded, and that just wasn't. But again, I think again, like I said, the story and the villains were like very cliche. Like, oh, let me get the pill. Instead of killing you, I'm going to put you in a prison cell with guards. And my motives are, we got no motives. Just give us the pill. Give us the pill. So the villains and the whole idea of it was done before. Like, someone has someone you want to go get it, or the cop and the assistant. And so I think the characters fit their roles perfectly, like the cop and the kind of cool bad guy type figure, and then the girl, kind of the person we see, through the lens of. And so I think it definitely played, I would say very much by the numbers, because again, the premise was so unique. But I think this is another case where I feel like the premise was not as good as the execution, the execution was not as good as the premise, because again, they never really focused on the whole power pill thing, and I think if you didn't see the trailers, I feel like you would get lost in the idea of this film. Because I think the trailers are like, oh yeah, there's a pill, what if you have power for 5 minutes? But if you didn't see the trailer and just watch the film, like, why are you timing 5 minutes? They never really truly, like, I understood it, yeah, but they never really put the emphasis on it. They never really, that was never, I think, and it makes me question, like, is the whole pill thing just a almost like a plot device for superhero action sequence, but yet keeping it grounded in reality, and still having other deaths, and still having, and not making it full-blown comic book film or whatever. I don't know, because I think this film was marketed as, this pill having pivotal things, but it felt more like this pill was a plot device, and I think than an actual a driving force in the story. And again, the performances in this film was great with Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So I mean the performances were great, very good. Not Oscar worthy or anything, but really great performances. Action sequences were stellar with the directing, with the choreography, with the uniqueness of having different powers, or like the guy stretched, or super speed, or super strength, or invisibility, or fire, on top of the great directing, choreography, and that element of, because of that premise, the time of, okay, they only have it for so long. If it runs out, you got to take another pill, and have that ability, that added side of time. So I think while the action was stellar, the story, it was very by the books. Very by the, someone stole someone I want, so I'm gonna go get it. And these, cliche villains have her, and this and this and that, and then it really dived into the science of the pill. They kind of dipped into, like, maybe it's like from animals, but it's also from the girl. So it felt like a lot was going on for just such a short amount of time, because you never really got that development between Art and his daughter. You never really got that sense. So it's like, I honestly got a deeper connection between not Tracy, who's the girl, Robin and Art, than I did Tracy and Art. And I get it, yeah, Tracy's just supposed to be in the film for a little bit, but the scenes that they were on in screen with, Art and Tracy, they never really made any effort to make a real connection. And I think this film would have been better if it had an extra 30 minutes to really dive. The problem is, the premise is so good, or so unique and so interesting, but yet sometimes, like, when you have good premise is not story, it's premise. And it's hard because it's like they can't really develop the premise, because they really want to service the story and the characters, and developing the characters and how, but they never really dive into the physics of the pill, what Tracy contributes to the pill. It's like, you want to know where they get there was like this practically a throwaway line of, do you want to know where they get the pill from, the power from the pill from? Yeah, but and it was like, what, she has superpowers now, so there is real super. So I think there was a lot of stuff that I think probably would have been better. And again, they don't need exposition. Because I think another thing is, this film tells, not shows, I think, more than shows, not and tells. I think the best films show. Decent films tell. But bad films just make you have to assume. And here, it tells. But barely. Where it's like, it never really shows. It's like, okay, we're going to tell you, or you're just going to have to assume. Because I'm just to assume it's based on different animals. Because, like, they talked about, like, a frog that uses its own bones to capture things, and then later in the film, there are some with that power. And so, I don't know, I don't know. I would watch this for the character. I like the characters. For the characters, definitely the action. Definitely the action. The action is stellar. And for the premise of a pill that you can have superpowers for 5 minutes. You don't know what power you're gonna get. It could blow up. You could have whatever power, whatever. So I think while the story, there's a lot going on, didn't really fit, didn't really explain a lot of stuff, but because this film is mainly an action film, and the action was stellar. Not like, I'm not gonna pretend this is like amazing, great, like top 10 action sequence is in this film, but it's the uniqueness of it, I think, because you get so much like fist fights, you get so much gunplay, and this has gunplay, but with that pill twist, and gunplay with the time twist, and how it's directed too. Because it's like, again, like I will always go back to the sequence where it's like you have the girl freezing up in the containment, and they show like the fight from like a distance, or fighting on the boat, where it's like the way it's shot, where it's like so many overview shots, but also they flip it upside down and make like a 360. And so I think from an action directing standpoint, it was great. From the idea of how the premise, because the premise really of a pill that you can have superpowers for 5 minutes really plays into only really the action, and it don't the premise of taking a pill for 5 minutes to have a superpower only really plays into the action. Otherwise, it's just a plot device. So I would recommend this film for action fans, for superhero fans, for Jamie Foxx fans, or and if you like the old guard, probably will like this film. If you like the MCU, you probably like this film. But again, it's something special, and I think it's a good film. The problem is some aspects are like this, some aspects like this, but the good for me outweighs the bad. Because there's so much action and action sequences in this film that it's so good that it's watchable. It's so good that it's enjoyable. Plus the cast is great. Plus the performances are pretty good. So I think the good, point being, the action sequences, the cast and performances outweigh the bad. The story not really explaining a lot and having too much. The good outweighs the bad. Stay tuned for more videos coming at you.